Now, with the court cards, we start with the Page of Wands. In French, it's valet. They've translated it into English as knave. This is basically a youthful attendant to a knight, is sort of the image that's being presented, and the next card being the knight, of course. And you can see again, just like with the ace, Smith has pretty much just copied this image, carried it over into and illustrated it in her style. The other interesting thing is with the ace, we saw a green living club, and then throughout the rest of the numerical suit, it was these fancy staffs that were painted colors. Here again, we get the green living piece of wood. And we find that throughout the court cards. So there's a resumption of this theme of green representing growth. The page you can see in the Marseille card, his clothing is sort of dominated by green for growth, gold for wisdom and intellect. The red is vitality. So there's the potential for all of these things. With the Marseille card, there's this sense that with a valet or a knave, they are learning. They're taking care of a knight, but they're also learning to become a knight themselves. The introduction of the word page, Waite interpreted this as a page to present that that sense of also bringing a message. That's incorporated into the Waite-Smith definitions. You can see on the Marseille card the ground is untilled. There's tilled rather, excuse me. They've tilled the ground, but there's no growth yet. So this is the youth that's ready to learn. And that color scheme has sort of been carried over into the Waite-Smith card also. Whereas the valet was dominated by the color green for growth, here we have the knight, and the knights represent action in any suit. He's on his horse, and the knight is dominated by the color gold. He's wearing golden armor, so again, the sense of intellect and wisdom. He's got yellow clothing on, or red clothing on underneath, which represents vitality and vigor. Then the green growing staff again. And it depends on how you interpret it, but for many, the heading to the left on the card in the Marseille suit can represent heading towards the past. You see that the horse and the knight are both turned to look to the future and look to the green growing staff. And the horse itself is this pale blue and white, purity and clarity. There's also, if you notice, the tilled ground now has some new growth starting to come out of it. So there's really this sense of action and change related to the suit of wands, and the knight turning to move to the future. And here's one of the differences between the Smith's illustrations and the Marseille cards. She also depicts the knight. She depicts him with yellow gold also. She's put in some symbolism from the Golden Dawn belief system, the salamander, which is supposed to represent fire, and you can see the plume coming out of his hat and off his cape, or also sort of look like flames, so the sense of tying fire to the suit of wands. But the knight is heading left. He's heading possibly towards the past. But anyway, he's looking in a different direction than the knight and the horse are from the Marseille suit. So that's one of the differences with Smith's illustration of this particular card. With the queen going from the green clothing of the page to the golden armor of the knight, we now have this red robe that she's wearing, vitality, and essentially a golden crown and a golden wreath showing intelligence and wisdom. And she's holding this green wooden scepter, we assume, again indicative of growth. She represents inner mastery of the suit's qualities, which are action and passion. And she again is looking to the future. And you can see the ground behind her. This tilled field is now green with growth. So she's sort of representing inner mastery of her actions and her passions and the ability to use them wisely with the golden crown and the wreath. Smith has pulled this over into her card. She's instead given a golden gown, to the queen, but she's got that sense of growth and the sunflower that the queen is holding, and again her staff has leaves coming out of it representing now growth. Now behind her there is that tapestry or that banner on the wall that represents this red, again representing vitality, and of course the enigmatic cute little black cat in the foreground that she put into this particular illustration. But notice that the queen again is looking in the same direction as on the Marseille card. And finally we come to the King of Wands, and you notice in the Marseille card he's holding a large green scepter, again indicative of growth, the golden hat and crown, which represents wisdom, intellect, but he has this pale blue armor on, which represents a sense of clarity. He's embodying the authority, the basically action and vitality authoritatively, and he's wise about it, as indicated by the crown. And he is sitting on a throne. He's governing action and vitality. You notice again the direction he's looking is towards the future. The King of Wands in Smith's depiction is looking in the other direction again. So another difference in terms of the direction the figure is looking. But the King of Wands again has the colors of red and gold, green for growth, and depictions of salamanders. There's even a small salamander on the ground next to the king. But the depictions for the court cards in general seem to come pretty much directly from the cards of the Marseille deck. I wanted to finish just by showing when you line up the cards of the Tarot de Marseille, you line up the court cards from the page all the way up to the king, you see that they're all looking to our right, basically looking towards what may be the future, again, depending on how you read, but they're looking in the same directions. There's this sense of uniformity, and if you take that as the future, it's about action and vitality growing and moving into the future. The cards from the Waite-Smith deck, you can see Smith's depiction of the page and the knight. They're facing one another, and the same for the queen and the king. It's just a different pattern visually of where they're looking, and depending on how you read the cards and what message you may take from this in the particular reading that you're doing, this could affect it and be a bit different. But it's definitely a different sense from the flow of all of the court cards looking in the same direction. So when we place the cards side by side, it becomes obvious how Pamela Coleman Smith took inspiration from the Tarot de Marseille cards to create her images. Even the numerical cards, where you're really just being shown arrays of staffs, she's carrying that sense over into her cards, and in some cases where you have an individual holding on the odd cards one staff versus the even numbered of staffs that they're arrayed against. This is kind of obvious to me how she's pulled that symbolism over to create her cards. This, by the way, is, we don't know what Pamela Coleman Smith had in her head or how she actually created the cards. So this is just me taking a look at them and comparing them side by side, but it seems to me that there is a relationship between the Marseille cards and the images that Smith created. If you like this video, please feel free to hit like and feel free to share the link, and take care and peace be with you.